Right now, in your bathroom, there's a shelf of products whose entire job is to make sure no one ever smells the real you. Deodorant, body wash, a spray that promises 2-4 hour freshness. You use them without thinking because somewhere along the way, you learned that the way your body actually smells is a problem to be hidden. But here's the thing, and I'm 1 billion% sure that not one of your ancestors would understand a single item on that shelf. No soap, no deodorant, no shower. For over 300,000 years, every human who ever lived walked around smelling exactly like a human. And the truth about what that actually meant is stranger and a lot less disgusting than you think. Let's start with the assumption, because you already have one. You're picturing it right now, a Stone Age camp and a wall of stench so thick you could lean on it. Unwashed bodies, rotting scraps, filth. You assume the past smelled bad because a world with no soap must have been a world that reeked. That assumption is mostly wrong. And to understand why, you have to understand what body odor actually is, because it is not what you think. Here is the part nobody tells you. Sweat does not smell. Fresh sweat, straight out of your skin, is almost completely odorless. You have two kinds of sweat glands. The eccrine glands cover your whole body and pump out a watery fluid that is basically salt and water for cooling. The apocrine glands, concentrated in your armpits and groin, release a thicker, oilier fluid. And that fluid, on its own, also barely smells. So where does the smell come from? Bacteria. The odor you spend money to erase is not produced by you at all. It is produced by colonies of bacteria living on your skin, feeding on the compounds in your sweat and breaking them down into the molecules your nose reads as body odor. Your smell is not you. It is the waste product of trillions of microscopic organisms that live on you. You are a habitat. And that changes everything, because the smell a human produces depends entirely on which bacteria are living on their skin and what that human is feeding them. And ancient humans were feeding theirs something completely different from what you feed yours. But before we even get to that, there is a much bigger reason the smell of an ancient camp would not have been the assault you are imagining. And it has nothing to do with the people. It has to do with the person doing the smelling, you. Your nose is built to ignore smells. When you walk into a room with a strong odor, you notice it intensely for the first minute, and then it fades, and within a few minutes you can barely detect it at all. It is called olfactory adaptation. Your brain decides that a constant, unchanging smell is not new information, so it simply stops reporting it to you. Smells only register when they change. Now think about what that means for a human who lived their entire life inside the same small group. They were born into that smell. They were carried in it, raised in it, surrounded by it every hour of every day for their whole life. To them, the smell of their own people was not a smell at all. It was the background. It was the scent of safety, of family, of home. Nobody in that camp thought anyone stank, for the same reason you do not notice the smell of your own house. When everyone smells, no one smells. The only person who would have been knocked flat walking into that camp is a modern human, because your nose has nothing to compare it to. You would be smelling 300,000 years of normal human life for the first time. And here is where the diet comes in. What you eat changes what your bacteria produce, which changes how you smell. The modern diet is loaded with refined sugar, processed oils, heavy dairy, alcohol, and enormous amounts of red meat. All of it feeds the skin bacteria that produce sharp, sour, pungent body odor. Ancient humans ate almost none of that. They ate wild plants, roots, lean meat, and whatever they could forage. A diet with almost no refined sugar at all. Their skin bacteria were eating a completely different menu, and the smell those bacteria produced was correspondingly different. Not perfume, but not the acrid modern stench you are picturing either. Then there was smoke. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived wrapped in the smell of fire. They slept beside it, cooked over it, huddled in it for warmth every single night. Wood smoke saturated their hair, their skin, their furs. And wood smoke is not just a smell, it is a mild antibacterial. It coats the skin and suppresses some of the very bacteria that cause body odor. Ancient humans did not smell like a clean bathroom. They smelled like a campfire. Smoke, earth, animal hide, and the faint, warm scent of another living body. To them, that smell meant you were home and you were alive. And then there is the thing modern hygiene has done to us that nobody talks about. Every time you scrub your skin with soap and coat your armpits in antibacterial product, you are not just removing smell. You are bombing the entire ecosystem living on your skin and forcing it to grow back over and over in a constant disrupted cycle. Some researchers now believe this is why heavy deodorant users often smell worse the moment they stop. You have spent years selecting for the exact aggressive bacteria your products are designed to fight. Ancient humans never disrupted their skin like that. Their microbiome reached a stable, balanced state and stayed there for a lifetime, which for many people produces a far milder and more even scent than the modern war we wage on our own skin. But all of that is still treating smell as a problem to be managed. And that is the deepest mistake we make. Because for almost the entire human story, your smell was not a problem at all. It was a language. Your body odor is one of the richest signals you produce, and you are broadcasting it constantly without knowing it. Hidden inside human scent is information about your immune system, your health, your diet, your emotional state, and whether you are a genetic match for someone else. In 1995, a Swiss biologist named Klaus Wedekind ran one of the most famous experiments in the history of human attraction. He had a group of men wear plain cotton t-shirts for 2 nights straight, with no soap, no deodorant, no scented products of any kind. Then he had women smell the worn shirts and rate them. The results were astonishing. The women were consistently most attracted to the smell of men whose immune system genes were the most different from their own. They had never met these men. They knew nothing about them. They were reading raw biological compatibility straight out of an unwashed shirt, using nothing but their nose. That ability did not appear in a lab. It is ancient. For 300,000 years, smell helped humans choose mates whose genes would give their children the strongest possible immune systems. A mother can identify her own newborn by scent within days of birth. A newborn can find its mother's milk by smell alone. Fear has a smell. Illness has a smell. Your ancestors lived inside a constant, silent conversation of scent, reading each other and the world through their noses in a way most modern people have almost completely lost. Body odor was not filth. It was data. And it was honest in a way almost nothing else about a person was. Think about that for a second. Before language could lie, before a face could fake a smile, your scent was already telling the truth. It could not be faked. It could not be hidden. It told the people around you who you really were, whether you wanted it to or not. For 300,000 years, that was not a weakness. It was one of the most useful things a human body could do. So what happened? How did the most information-rich thing your body produces become something you are ashamed of? The answer is that someone sold it to you. For most of history, nobody thought human smell was a crisis. Then, in the early 20th century, companies discovered that body odor was a goldmine because you cannot sell a cure to someone who does not believe they are sick. So they invented the sickness. In 1919, an advertising campaign for an early deodorant ran one of the first ads designed to make people, specifically women, terrified that they smelled offensive without knowing it, that everyone around them could tell, and that it was quietly ruining their lives. It worked. Within a generation, an entire civilization had been taught that its own natural scent was a humiliating secret. The shelf in your bathroom is not the solution to an ancient problem. It is the product of a marketing campaign that is barely 100 years old. And so, here you are, standing in front of that shelf, doing every morning what no human did for 300,000 years, erasing the one signal your body evolved to send, scrubbing away the chemical truth of who you are, your health, your genes, your state of mind, and replacing it with a manufactured smell designed in a factory so that you will smell like everyone else, which is to say, like no one at all. Your ancestors were not disgusting. They smelled like smoke and earth and life, and to the people who loved them, that smell meant everything. They could read each other with a sense you have been trained to switch off. The real you is still under there, still broadcasting, still telling the truth. You just spend every morning making very sure that nobody, including you, will ever smell it. That's all for today. Anyway, please donate a subscribe to fund the next video.